Hello, and once again, welcome to another episode of The Naked Turner. Today I'm going to be turning a piece of Paduk that was sent to me very kindly by my cousin and his wife, all the way from the East Coast, coming to me by way of Massachusetts through, let's see, I think he got it in Phoenix, carried it home with him to Massachusetts, and then sent it to me here on the West Coast in Oakland, California. So I'm going to get about turning some of this stuff here. So y'all might want to take a little walk over to my lathe so I can show you this Paduk. Alright, so here's this piece of Paduk. It's approximately 3 inches tall, 5 inch by 5 inch square of some Paduk that looks like it's going to be pretty amazing. It's got some beautiful grain and a great color to it. Feels real solid and stable. It's all waxed up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill a hole. I've identified the center point. I'll drill a hole here in the center. Then I'll take it over my bandsaw and rough it into a circle. Once I have that part done, I'll come back, mount it on my lathe. Okay, so I'm back here at the lathe, and I have this piece of Paduk roughed in. I've left as much as I possibly can of this piece on, and I'm going to try turning this into a small bowl. I'm going to be starting out with my 1/2 inch bowl gouge, and it's pretty sharp. I may have to sharpen this eventually. And before you start any project, always remember to read, understand, and follow all the shop safety for the tool you're using, and most importantly, wear some eye and face protection when you're using your lathe. This face shield has saved me more than once, and it happens when you're not expecting it, so it's best to just keep it on. As soon as you take it off, that's when something's going to fly off and whack you in the head and remind you that you probably should put on a face shield. So why take the chance of something like this that probably weighs about 4.5 pounds spinning at somewhere, I'll probably be spinning this up around 1600 to 2000 RPM. So if this did want to somehow leave my chuck, which most likely it won't, but you don't want to tempt fate, if it did leave my chuck, it's going to come off real hard and it's going to hurt myself or break something in my shop. Okay, so everything is on here tight. Everything's locked down. I'm pretty close to the edge here, and the first thing I'm going to do is go about truing this piece up because it's definitely not cylindrical at this point. Okay, so coming on, bringing my speed up to, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to listen to it, because the faster I'm turning this to a certain point, the better it is, the cleaner cut I'll get. I'm up here at about 1800 RPM, almost 1900 RPM. That's a good speed to start out. Let me pan back a little so you can see what I'm doing here. What I'm doing, hopefully, yeah, it looks like you can see this. What I'm doing is I have my handle, the handle of my tool is really low, up against the side of my body. I'm presenting the tool at an angle where the bevel is rubbing so that I can either take real fine cuts or bring the handle up a little bit to take a deeper cut. And then I'm moving my body. My body's making the cut. I'm dancing with the tool. Coming back, and then dancing back down. Okay, so I've got this piece now cylindrical. This tool feels a little dull. And I just identified the size of the mortise I want to make on this piece. And now I'm going to remove a mortise. And then now I'm going to grab my skew take my round nose scraper, which was a little dull, come in with my screw chisel, and making a small dovetail to the inside of that piece. And now let me just check. I gotta first finish off flattening the bottom here. Okay, that looks pretty good. A little pull scrape across that, just to blend those. Blend those tool mark lines out for a second here. And that's pretty nice. That's going to be a beautiful piece of Paduk. Hey, Cousin August, thank you very much. This looks like a gorgeous piece of Paduk. Hopefully I can turn it into a pretty bowl. Look at the chatoyance, the fire in this piece of wood. Absolutely beautiful. The playing with the eye. It's like tiger's eye in here. So I'm going to do some more shaping, but just wanted to show you how I make the mortise on the bottom of that. Change camera angles here. So now I'm going to do a little bit of shaping down here. Piece of wood is so gorgeous that I think I'm going to leave as much of it as I possibly can. I'm just going to sort of round this bottom edge off a little bit. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Hopefully you can see some of that in the camera. There are some hairline fractures, it looks like, right in here. But hopefully those don't run that far into the piece and they'll be alright. Alright. And that's looking pretty good. The end grain still has a little bit of tear out there, but that's definitely sandable. I think this Paduk is just has a tendency of tearing like that. So I'm going to stop at that point, do a little bit of sanding, then some sanding sealer, then some abrasive wet sanding, and put a finish on this section of the bowl. And then I'll turn it around and start hollowing it out. Okay, I'm putting some sanding sealer on here with it not spinning, just applying sanding sealer. And my sanding sealer is shellac and denatured, equal parts. This piece is really, really smooth now. I just burnished away the Yorkshire grit. Ran it up here around 2300 for the final polishing portion. And it's looking really pretty. It's got a really nice luster. And that was with a 320 sand job prior to the Yorkshire grit. And now, as you can see, that Yorkshire grit, I started out at about 200 RPM, a little under 200 RPM, and then worked my way up through RPMs, and then I was rotating my cloth every once in a while, getting to a fresh piece of cloth to remove all the fine particles of the Yorkshire grit. And now it's just buttery smooth. So I will now apply some finish, and let me do that here. My finish is the same thing as my sanding sealer, to be completely honest with you. I don't like to build up with a heavier sealer. I'm just putting on a little bit, going way down in speed here, down to 180. And applying some of the same finish over the top of that Yorkshire grit. Whoops. Okay. Getting back to the rag here and applying a little more varnish. There we go. Okay, now, once that set up on there, see if that added another layer of luster to that. Then, okay, now A little boiled linseed oil right on my rag, just directly onto the rag here, and then a little bit of my finish and sanding sealer straight on the rag, put it on. August in Yosemite, this piece is turning out incredibly beautiful. Whoops, there we go. Turning out incredibly beautifully, and it's got so much fire that it's just incredible. I mean, look at this. This is a piece of Paduk that is just on fire. There's a couple of cracks right here, some hairline cracks, but I think they're going to be okay. So I'm just hoping that the finish and everything kind of locks everything together. I'm going to flip this around and start the hollowing process. Okay, so you can see now I have it flipped around and it's just running super true. There's the tiniest little bit of wobble in it. Tiny, micro. So, and I think most of that's from the face not being squared off yet. So I'll be squaring that off and then get started with hollowing this out. Hopefully that's a little better angle, and start doing some turning here. I might have to move these lights a little so they're not in my way. And okay, there you go. Coming in. Right now, and I'm on my final 320 step. Okay, so I'm putting the sanding sealer on. Sorry, my card just filled up there. I got a coat of sanding sealer, and now I'm going to put a secondary coat. Okay, so now I put some boiled linseed oil in here and mix some more shellac on my rag with it and just burnishing it in. It's almost done right now. There it is. Okay, hopefully you can see that. It looks like you can. This has a really nice finish. What I'll do now is come back in a couple minutes with a clean rag, just do a little buffing on it. And when I'm finished, I'll pull it off the lathe and take a couple pictures.